Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're pulling together some really powerful material, all focused on that intense intersection between personal crisis and, well, world-class performance.
Yeah, and our mission here is to take what is a pretty aggressive, philosophical, and tactical roadmap methods you usually see with, titans of industry or creative legends, and actually translate it.
Make it actionable.
Exactly. Turn it into specific daily habits that you can use.
And our source material really starts with the highest stakes imaginable. It's quite a story.
It is. We begin with this character. She's only known as the entrepreneur, a celebrated tech founder who suddenly finds herself facing this betrayal.
A malicious corporate coup.
Right, designed to just destroy her company and completely dilute her stake.
And she hits absolute rock bottom. I mean, the sources describe her despair as so profound, she was actually contemplating suicide.
Which is just staggering. And she viewed all these self-help seminars and, personal growth workshops as, I think the phrase was silly indulgences.
For broken-winged individuals. She had all the external success in the world, and yet she was drowning.
And it's that desperation that finally pushes her to attend a seminar with this figure called the Spellbinder. He's this elderly grandmaster of inspiration.
And this is where we get that first foundational truth, the thing that sort of sets the stage for everything that follows.
He says, "Too many among us die at 30 and are buried at 80.
Oof. That just immediately reframes the whole problem, doesn't it? It's not about chasing more success.
No, it's about escaping the trap of a life on repeat. Realizing you're living the same dull week thousands of times and calling it a life.
And then things get even stranger.
Yeah.
Right after this moment, the spellbinder collapses.
He does. And the entrepreneur and an artist she meets there are approached by this man who looks completely disheveled, like a homeless person.
Except for one detail.
A watch worth $100,000.
This is Mr. Riley, the billionaire. And this whole appearance, the contrast, it's all intentional. It's how he introduces his core philosophy.
A philosophy he built from extreme personal hardship. He has this line, "Pain is the doorway into deep."
So for him, crisis isn't something to be avoided. It's a required step.
It's a purifier. He says tragedy is nature's great purifier. It burns away the fakeness, fear, and arrogance. He's basically arguing you can't build real excellence on a foundation of comfort.
That makes a lot of sense philosophically, but let's talk practically. Growth hurts. I mean, discipline is hard. Why would anyone choose to endure that?
Because the alternative is so much worse. The billionaire insists, and I'm quoting here, that the soreness of growth is so much less expensive than the devastating costs of regret.
The pain of regret is permanent. The pain of growth is temporary.
That's the choice. And if that inner enemy is your own fear of discomfort, he identifies this massive external enemy.
Superficiality.
Apathy. Yeah, he attacks what he calls cyber zombies. People just addicted to interruption who never get into a state of deep work.
And that connects to the Spellbinder's idea of the collective deprofessionalization of business.
Exactly. It's this idea that we're in an age where people are kind of intellectually checked out. They're coasting, sacrificing rigor for the easy route.
Which, ironically, leaves the door wide open
Yeah.
for anyone willing to do the opposite.
To reprofessionalize their own life. And the antidote to that apathy is what the source calls granularity.
Sweating the tiny details.
The almost absurdly small details. He uses these great examples, like the story of a hotel chef who painstakingly carves the seeds out of lemon wedges for tea service.
Or the CEO talking about making a simple spaghetti pomodoro.
Yeah.
It seems easy, but getting the calibration right.
The exact ratio of oil, salt, temperature that requires unusual expertise and uncommon prowess. Granularity is about making every single action a small masterpiece.
So that pursuit of intense calibration brings us to the really tactical part of this whole framework.
The 5 a.m. club.
The core practice. Waking up at 5 in the morning to dedicate what they call a victory hour to yourself. The logic being winning starts at your beginning.
And that hour isn't just random time. It's designed to fortify what the source calls the 4 interior empires.
Okay, let's break those down. The 4 I's. The first is mindset.
Your psychology, basically, what you believe is possible.
Then heart set. And this one seems critical and maybe overlooked a lot of the time.
Oh, absolutely. Your emotionality. The goal is to actively purify your feelings, to process frustrations, let go of resentments. You have to clean the emotional slate every day.
Next is health set. That's the physical.
Your physiology. It's tied to that motto, train harder, live longer. Because longevity matters if you're trying to build a legacy.
And finally, soul set.
Your spirituality or your inner peace. connecting to a purpose that's bigger than just your own daily grind.
So to build these four empires, you run what's called the 20-20-20 formula, 5 days a week, minimum. But I have to stop you right there. I can barely find my socks at 5 a.m.,
Uh-huh.
let alone start with intense, sweaty cardio. How is that even possible?
Well, that's the challenge, but there's a very specific reason for that structure. The first pocket, from 5:00 to 5:20 a.m., is movement, and it has to be intense.
So burpees, sprints,
Yeah,
getting genuinely sweaty. Why?
it's purely chemical. It's a hack for what the source calls the natural pharmacy of mastery.
A chemical hack. I like that.
Oh.
So how does it work?
Intense exercise releases norepinephrine. That immediately sharpens your attention and also gives you a sense of serenity. But more importantly, it directly regulates your amygdala.
The brain's fear center.
Right. So by starting your day sweaty, you're literally, chemically, reducing your ability to have a hysterical response to stress later in the day. You're preparing for the chaos.
Okay, so the first 20 minutes is a chemical reset. What happens next?
The second pocket, 5:20 to 5:40 a.m., is reflection. After that physical purge, you need stillness.
This is the journaling part, the daily diaries.
Yep. Listing gratitude, processing frustrations, and crucially, planning your day around your biggest priorities. It makes sure that sharpened attention you just created is pointed at the right things.
And the final third of this victory hour.
5:40 to 6:00 a.m. is growth. This is dedicated learning. Reading a book, listening to an audio program, working on a skill.
You become the 60-minute student.
Exactly. It's that relentless focus learning that keeps you from becoming obsolete.
You know, the power of this isn't just about having more time. It's rooted in what's happening in your brain.
That's the whole key. The reason it feels so hard at first is because you're literally fighting your own brain.
The ancient brain.
The limbic system, the amygdala.
Yeah.
Its only job is survival. It wants to maintain a safe, steady state. So when your mastery brain decides, hey, let's get up at 5 a.m., the ancient brain registers that change as a threat.
And it hits the panic button.
It floods you with cortisol, the fear hormone. And when cortisol is high, we procrastinate, we self-sabotage. Our brain is literally trying to destroy our good intentions because change feels dangerous.
But the 5 a.m. solitude, that quiet, gives us a neurological weapon against that cortisol. You mentioned transient hypofrontality.
It sounds super dense, but the concept is actually quite beautiful. When you're awake early, in quiet, away from all the noise in your phone, you temporarily quiet your prefrontal cortex.
The part of the brain that's always analyzing, worrying, ruminating.
That's the one. And that temporary shutdown, the transient part, allows your brain waves to shift from that stressed out beta state into alpha and theta.
Which are associated with creativity and calm.
Precisely. And that shift triggers the release of dopamine and serotonin. You're basically creating the perfect neurochemical cocktail to enter the flow state naturally.
You're giving your worrying brain a timeout.
A necessary one, yeah. And this all just highlights why your deep beliefs about yourself are so critical. If you believe genius is born, not developed, you're never going to go through all this trouble.
Because your performance always aligns with how you see yourself.
And if you keep breaking the promises you make to yourself, like hitting snooze, you just erode your own self-worth. The billionaire is really blunt about this. He calls procrastination an act of self-hatred.
Wow, that's heavy. But it makes sense. Failing on those small commitments destroys your personal value.
It does. And beyond that internal work, he stresses that your external world is just as crucial. He has maxim number 5. Choose your association carefully.
This is the idea of mirror neurons and emotional contagion.
Right. We just naturally model the behavior and absorb the emotions of the people we spend the most time with.
So if you surround yourself with dream stealers, energy thieves, and enthusiasm bandits,
You're guaranteed to regress. It's almost a law of nature. You have to fill your life with exceptionally excellent, enterprising, healthy, positive people.
that is a very high bar to set for your social circle.
It is, but mediocrity is infectious. Genius-grade performance needs an environment that supports it.
And sustaining that genius, that's the real test.
Yeah.
That brings us to the reference about the Taj Mahal.
Yeah, that took 20 years to build. 20 years of persistence, commitment, showing up even when you're exhausted and feel rejected. Mastery is a long game. Triumph loves the relentless.
That relentless drive then leads directly to the ultimate goal, which is legacy.
Right. And the final lesson is taught at Robben Island, where Nelson Mandela was imprisoned. The Spellbinder explains that true heroes are lifetime inhabitants of the territory of legacy.
They're not just in it for themselves. They're operating for a cause that's bigger than them.
To leave the world brighter than they found it. And that requires urgency. The billionaire quotes Seneca: "Thinking about dying brings what matters most into much sharper focus."
So if we boil all this down, from the crisis that starts the journey to the 20 years it takes to build Taj Mahal, the main takeaway seems to be that greatness is a step-by-step game.
It's all micro wins. The huge success people want isn't some mystical thing. It's the inevitable result of thousands of tiny optimizations and consistent daily disciplines that, frankly, most people just aren't willing to do.
Which brings us to our final provocative thought, straight from the billionaire himself. He says, Utopia, Shangri-La, Nirvana, and heaven on earth are just names for a state of being, not a place of visiting.
So, if that's true, if this heaven on earth is a state you can build and inhabit right now, the challenge for you listening is this: what single non material change, what tiny optimization can you commit to today, right now, to begin reclaiming your own inherent power and start experiencing that magic that most people are completely blind to?